Ever wondered, look, how do I build this niche? Like, where do I start? What do I need to be covering? In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. I'm going to show you what you should be discussing on your website, your YouTube channel, other social media platforms to become the authority and to build the trust with your clients. Hi, I'm Chris with Niche Your Business. For more than a decade now, I've been helping insurance agencies build niches. I built my own, and I still have it today with the Flood Insurance Guru. The biggest mistake I made in building a niche was I didn't have a strategy. I didn't have a plan. And my goal is I help you build that plan. If you want help in building this plan, it's real simple. You can always click in the description of this video, reach out to me personally, and I'd be happy to sit down and work with you to help you build this plan like we do companies every day. But before we get started, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to share, subscribe, and like the channel below. One of the questions I get asked all the time is, where do I start? What do I discuss? Well, in today's video, I'm showing you how to lay out a content map on building out this niche. Now look, this is just a starting point. This is kind of the way the brainstorm, but I'm gonna show you in this quick video though, what you could do, and I'm gonna use home insurance as an example. When we're building a niche, we're building on certain topics. So what we have here is what's called a content map. This one right here, you can just see home insurance. Look, we could take this way deeper in this niche. We could have taken this down into homes worth more than $1 million. But even if we take it down more than that, we're still talking about these general areas. We're talking about cost, coverage, reviews, comparisons. These are all questions that your potential client is asking you every day. And they're going where they can find these answers. If you don't have these answers, you're not building that trust. But wouldn't it be great if you could actually have the answers to these before people reach out to you? That's exactly what's happening with AI search right now. That's why companies are being recommended in ChatGPT and being found is how they're answering these questions on their website, their social media, especially the way Facebook and Instagram is being indexed now. It's no longer a search engine optimization world with your website. Now it's what we call a search everywhere optimization world. This means that a customer may start with Facebook and they may end up with your website. Your website is no longer the puzzle. Instead, it's a piece of the puzzle, still a very important piece. But we've got to get these questions answered in different areas. So let's talk about real quick on building this mind map though, because I don't want to take up too much of your time. In these 4 areas, as a customer is going through what we call the customer journey, maybe they're in their awareness stage and they're trying to decide, doing their research. And if you can get these questions answered so when they get to you, you're getting buyers that are actually ready to buy. And you can segment this based on, forms they're filling out. Hey, do I have a loan closing coming up? If you have a loan closing coming up, maybe we should be addressing content that talks about insurance and closing costs. That's exactly what we do. Taking those things that you're talking about at the end of the sales funnel, going ahead and addressing them. Some would call this vanguarding. So let's talk about costs first on home insurance, for example. What we should be talking about through articles, ebooks, videos. How much does it cost? Now, a lot of people are scared to answer this question because they think they're going to give an exact price. When we're talking about how much does it cost, we're talking about averages. And you may ask, well, Chris, how do I get that information? Well, you look at your data and your side, your CRM, especially if we're localizing things. Look, we're always a big fan of localizing data. So if you look at your local data in your CRM, you're going to see on average what customers are paying based on coverage amounts, based on situations. And you can get very deep into how much does it cost. And look, people want to know how much does it cost. They don't want to know the exact dollar. They're looking for ranges. They're looking for someone like you to give them guidance. And that's exactly what that question is going to do. Now, they also want to know what factors impact costs. I cannot tell you how big of a difference when we put this on our pricing page that it made. In fact, we recently had someone link to one of our articles that skyrocketed our website traffic simply because of how we answered this question. Let's talk about home insurance, for example. The factors impact cost. Maybe it is credit. Maybe it's claims. Maybe it's coverage amounts. Just think about all the different things you see every day as an insurance agent and how they impact cost. These are things people want to know. And you potentially could have a different article for each one of those. So you could have this as kind of what some people would call a pillar page. You could have this as a website on your page. You could have different blogs to address this under each one of these different areas. Then you talk about average premiums. What do you see on average what people are paying on certain situations? Once again, that can go back to how much does it cost. But when you're giving averages using pricing calculators to do that based on certain situations, this builds trust. These are called self-assessment tools. So that's cost. Now in coverage, look, people want to know what's covered, what's not covered. So you want to talk about that. And look, you want to do this in articles. You want to do it in videos because Google and AI, they're all looking at video. They're looking at written content as well. But video like this right here builds an emotional connection. So if you could have someone on your team, or you as maybe an agency owner, discussing these things on film, you're building that instant trust. But also, when a customer asks you this, when you've got that content already ready to go, even almost ahead of when they're answering the question, they're going to know they're in the right place. This continues to build your authority. It continues to build that trust. But they need to know what is covered, what is not covered. You know, add-ons. We try to avoid insurance terms, but for an add-on, think of it like an endorsement, something that's typically not covered, but you could add it. Maybe it's water backup or something like that. Then we get over to reviews. And some people are real careful here because they don't want to mention certain carriers. Look, have a conversation with your carrier. Say, look, I'm working on content, and I want to be transparent with you about things I want to discuss with our customers. I want to build that trust. Have that conversation with them, kind of see where that line's at. That's what we do with our carrier. Say, look, I'm working on this article. I want to make sure you offer these certain things before I put this out here. And then you're going to get a good idea too, like things like J.D. Powers, for example. What are the customer survey scores? What are the top home insurance companies in your area? Customers want to know that. But more importantly, why are they the top insurance companies? For example, what are common complaints about some of these companies? What are the positive trends that you're seeing happen in these companies? Look, this is not an opportunity to bash companies. This is an opportunity to put the truth out there. What's on their website and these different things that you're seeing out there. Now, I'm not saying go into a Reddit forum, even though it's a great resource. Don't go in there and start posting those questions, but really do some good research. And look, you can use ChatGPT to help with this research. You can use Claude. There's a lot of different AI tools that really help with this research. You even using your own data to understand your own scores based on questions and positive trends and all these things. And this is something we work with insurance agencies every day, helping their customers understand the difference between a captive agent and an independent. Like, they don't know what that is, but understanding working with a State Farm versus an independent agent, working with an Allstate agent versus that. They need to understand what some of the differences are there, because a lot of people are going to assume it's all the same. But as independent agents, you probably know it's not. So you want to take the opportunity to address this in a video. You want to take the opportunity to address this in an article. Maybe in an interview with one of your staff members, interviewing you like mine does every single week. Then there is the policy types of the comparison. For example, on a home insurance policy, HO3 versus an HO5 or HO6, if it's a condo, whatever, understanding which one of these the customer maybe needs that they're just not aware of. Maybe one that provides more coverage than another one. But breaking those down, not getting too lost in the terms, but keeping it on a 5th grade level. And look, this is it. This is just a start, and this is home insurance. You could do this with Alabama home insurance. You could do this with Birmingham home insurance. And you could dive even deeper into costs based on your target audience. And you want to start, if you haven't watched one of our videos, look, click up here in the corner of this video on our Building Your Target Audience, where we walk you through exactly how to build your target audience, your Dream 100. Some will call it from the book Dream 100, and this is going to help you. You can also click in the description, reach out to me, and I'll share my GPT with you that is built specifically for target audience building for insurance agents and agency owners. But this is just a start of how you can continue to build that authority in your niche, whatever niche you decide to pick, and continue to get deeper and deeper answering those questions. And look, you're gonna have some competition, probably gets upset with you. Mine does, because I go so deep on it that they say, hey, you're giving the customer too much information. I'm giving customers the right information so they can make the right decision. I am an educational and a video company first. My job is to educate. Then what they decide to go with, that's on them. But running a flood insurance company with one of my other companies, we are an educational company first. It's how we built our company. It's how we built a national brand. That's why a lot of people come to us, is because of how we're addressing these things. And look, you should be addressing these things as well. This is how you're going to grow your brand. This is how your brand is going to build trust. Because remember, people trust people. They don't trust brands. I'm Chris with Niche Your Business, and I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Remember, in the description of this video, if you're an insurance agency owner, don't forget to go join our private community where we teach agency owners also how to build a niche and how to work with AI and some different communities there. So you can join down in the description, reach out to me, I can send you an invite. I look forward to speaking to you in our next video. Thank you.